we now have a whole load of tracking data and shape data that we can start to use in After Effects. So let's see how we can start to take this out and use it in different ways. The first thing I'm going to do is take out our tracking data. So I'm going to use the disk top 3 track and click on Export Tracking Data. It's important that we have the layer selected in the layer controls because that is the data that we're going to be taking out. It's also important, if we have a look at the surface, that our surface is aligned exactly where we want the tracking data to be, because when we're taking out corner pin data, it's these 4 points that are going to make the difference. And if we're taking out translation, scale and rotation data, it's going to be the middle of these 4 points that things are going to hang on. So the simple fact that we can offset our surface at any point makes this tracking data even more flexible. So I'm going to click on Export Tracking Data now. And depending on which version of Mocha you're working on, you'll have either a lot or a few different formats that we can take out. To begin with, I'm going to use the After Effects corner pin supports motion blur. And all I'm going to do is just copy that to the clipboard and then pop into After Effects. In After Effects now, I have my footage. I also have my disk logo here, my generic logo, lovely. And to apply that corner pin data, I just have to make sure that my insert layer is selected and that I'm at the first frame of my composition, or the first frame where I want the tracking data to go in. And once I've got that, I can go Edit, Paste. Let's RAM preview that out. And you can see that that's dropped the logo in exactly where I wanted it to be. And it's looking pretty good. Let's see what Mocha's brought in. I'm going to hit U on the keyboard just to show us all the keyframes. And you can see that we've got a corner pin effect and we've got position, scale and rotation keyframes. And having these keyframes here means that we can turn on motion blur on our layer and turn on motion blur on the viewer here, and everything starts to blur out a little bit more. So let's go into Mocha again. So I'm going to use the same layer and just click on Export Tracking Data one more time. And this time, instead of taking out corner pin data, I'm going to take out transform data. Copy that to my clipboard and let's pop back into After Effects. And I'm going to turn on my tracked logo here. Let's see what happens if I paste my data not at the first frame. So Edit, Paste, click on U here. You can see I've got all my keyframes. You see it's offset and not really doing what we want it to do. There are a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is, or the reason it's offset is because we've not got it at the first frame. So I can just drag that over or just delete that and move my thing back again. The other reason it doesn't seem to be tracking anything is because if we take a look down here, we have anchor point, position, scale and rotation keyframes. Take a look at the anchor point and position keyframes as I move through. Those two are exactly the same. And really what's happening is they're cancelling each other out. So that's not what I want at all. So I want to do a match move. So I'm going to just take off my anchor point keyframes and I can either just reset these or I can just offset them a little bit here as well. And if I do that and now play that through, in fact, let's RAM preview that through. You can see we've got a nice little match move going on here. Now, if I want to offset this, I wouldn't change the position because that's going to change the keyframes here. I'd change the anchor point up a little bit. There we go. Do I actually have two shapes that I want to link to the same tracking data? So what I do normally is I wouldn't have applied the keyframes onto the layer itself. So I'll just delete all those keyframes and then just go to reset. So we've got everything exactly as it was previously. I'm going to come up and I'm going to create a new null object. And let's just rename this one to tracking data. So a null object is it's an empty layer. It's not going to show up when you RAM preview. It's not going to show up when you render. The only reason it's there is for you to feed data into it to control other layers. So let's show you how that works. So with my tracking data null object turned on, let's call this tracking data null so that we're in no mistakes what it's actually going to be, and come in and paste that in. Hit U, do the same as I did before. I'm going to take my anchor point keyframes, just take those and reset them. In this case, I don't really need to reset them, but you know, it's a nice little habit to get into. Then I can come in, turn on my arrow shape. So we'll lock up the other layers that we're not using. And then we'll just position that one there and position my tracked up here, for example. Then I can take both my arrow shape and my tracked, come over to the parent and parent those to the null. So these two are now taking their position, scale and rotation data from my null object. So I render that through. We've now got our match move going on there. Lovely stuff. So what about the shape data? Well, let's come back into Mocha and have a look. So I come up now to my desktop mask, and instead of exporting out the tracking data, I'll take out the shape data. Mocha shape data for After Effects, yes. Selected layer, yes please. Copy that to the clipboard. Let's go into After Effects again. Let's come to the front. I'm going to create a layer, new, solid, and let's stick with the blue there. So this is just a blue solid shape. Now I'm going to come into Edit, and at the bottom, Paste Mocha Mask. Hit U again just so you can see what's going on. We've got now a regular After Effects mask coming on. So if you've ever used After Effects masks before, these are exactly what they are. So we can feather them out, we can expand them or shrink them. The only thing you might have noticed is that our center hasn't been chopped out. That's because both of the masks here have come in as add. If I put the second one to subtract there, you can now see that that bit has been handily chopped out, just waiting for me to feather it up a little bit more. So let's reposition this down here. Let's set this to a blend mode of screen maybe. So we've just got a little color overlay going on. And our color overlay is unfortunately extending over this area here as well. We don't want that. You know what we're going to do. Let's get into Mocha again. Back in Mocha, we'll come to our front bar mask. So it's this mask down the bottom here. Export that shape data out, selected layer, copy that to the clipboard. And I can do one of two things. I could come in and with my, let's call this my tinting layer, tinting. This is the one with the masks I've got on already. I could come in and do paste Mocha mask again. And this is by bar front mask. So all I have to do with this is hit subtract. And with the layer order as it is, that's going to subtract that out. And we'll just, again, feather that up a little bit. Quite a lot, in fact. I could also apply that mask to a separate solid layer and use that as a track matte if I wanted to. But for this job, just applying it to my tinting layer and setting it to subtract was all I really needed to do. So just in this one shot, we've got two different types of Mocha tracking data. We've got transform data, which is doing the match move for the text and the shape. And those are linked with a null object, though we could also link those directly. And we also have the roto splines that we created in Mocha brought in as standard After Effects masks. And as a standard After Effects masks are very quick to render out, and we can still use the different blend modes on those masks and the feathers and the opacity and the mask expansion to customize these even further. And we've done a lot of this by recycling the same data in Mocha and using that again for different tasks. So one of my key mantras when working with Mocha is you track once, then use that data many times for as many different things as you need it for. So just think, this one desktop track gave us the two different types of tracking data we used in After Effects, and it's driving the desktop mask layer as well. So that's a quick look at using the Mocha data in After Effects.